Can English teams fight back and claim any of the Super Leagues? Hello and welcome to the What If League. Today we're seeing episode 5 of the brand new series, the Super Leagues, and in today's episode we're going to follow 3 weeks of playtime in the game. Last time we left out it was the 24th of September, and now we're starting at the 1st of October. So on the screen you can see quickly the first 11 teams placed in the all top 5 Super Leagues. Of course we're going to start with Super League 1, so let me get started. In the top Super League, Real Madrid are now leaders. They have 19 points, 2 more than Barcelona, their compatriots. Manchester United and Manchester City are still chasing them, both on 15 points. And at the bottom we see Napoli, Paris Saint-Germain and Roma. So Paris Saint-Germain and Napoli are still struggling a lot. I'm going to have a quick look at Paris Saint-Germain, try to understand what is happening there and why they are not performing that well, since we would expect them to be a really strong contender. The same goes for Bayern Munich, who are just above the relegation places and are also really struggling to have any impact on those leagues. This is the Paris Saint-Germain overview screen. We see that nothing has changed here. Thiago Silva is their captain, Neymar is their key player, with Unai Emery as their head coach. Their tactics screen does not suggest anything too specific. Why would they struggle so much? I'm not really sure how to explain this, but we will have to wait and see what is happening here and why are those guys struggling so much in the league. Let's have a quick look at Bayern Munich. I'm really not sure what to expect in these situations. This is very surprising to me that both of those teams are struggling so much in these leagues, while we see that the top Spanish teams are really head and shoulders above everybody else. The English Manchester Giants are also trying to chase them and are not really giving up without a fight. While in this situation Bayern and PSG are not really making any significant impact on that league. We see that they are at 17th and 19th position respectively, which is way lower than what I would expect from them. There are no new surprises in the player sections. You see that Dani Carvajal is still leading the assists rankings with 6 assists. I think this was for three rounds now, so nobody is getting even close to that. Unfortunately for him, apparently he's not really extending his assist tally for the season yet. On the other hand, Luis Suarez is still the best performing player. Lionel Messi has slumped down. Cristiano Ronaldo has overthrown him at second place. We see also that Luis Suarez has picked up the Player of the Match award 4 times, which is more than anybody else in this league. Moving down to Super League 2, this is where we find Cruzeiro leading just on goal difference above Santos. So the 2 Brazilian teams are dominating Super League 2, 1 point more than Villarreal and 2 points more than French Olympique Lyon. At the bottom we find Brazilian team Atlético Mineiro, who have managed to move up from the bottom. Lazio and Ajax are also in the relegation zone. Atlético Mineiro are at the 18th position just because they have worse goal difference than Corinthians, who at the moment are at the 17th position and they have 3 goals better goal difference. So this is the only reason why they are not in the relegation zone as well. In this league, if we look at the table, for me the biggest surprise is that Monaco are not performing better. I think for me they would be the clear-cut favorites to win that division, but at the moment they're 4 points behind the leaders, which is not that much, and I think they have more than sufficient time to recover. But I really would have expected them to dominate the league from the start and lead all the way. We see that their defender Kamil Glik is the top performing player in the league, but his form is not really reflecting on the whole team. In Super League 3, we see that Turkish Beşiktaş is leading with 5 wins and 2 losses and 15 points from 7 games. They are leading 2 points more than Brazilian Fluminense and 3 points more than Sao Paulo. So the Brazilian teams in League 2 and 3 are really dominating and are pushing to lead those divisions. At the bottom we find Everton, Cruz Azul and Olympiacos. Olympiacos, the Greek team, is really struggling. They have only 1 point and I'm really concerned that they would not be able to recover in time. Just looking around the table, let me see who I would expect really to perform better. Maybe in the first season not, but I really expect that if Leverkusen do not qualify for the next division, they are going to dominate this league in the next year. I think they're too strong to stay on that level. Also, I see that the Argentinian Boca Juniors are at 13th position. I would have expected from them a bit more. Also, the same stands for the 16th place River Plate. But other than that, I think it's very fairly distributed. Besiktas are really surprising me. I would not expect them to dominate such class teams. But on the other hand, they're not really a weak team by any standards. Super League 4 is being led by Tigres. Tigres have almost perfect record so far, 6 wins, only 1 draw and 19 points. I think they're the top performing team in all 5 leagues. They're being followed by Real Betis in second place with 2 draws and 17 points. Newcastle are in third position with 15 points. They also haven't lost. So we see that in this division we have 4 teams that are yet to taste defeat. Krasnodar have 2 wins and 4 draws, Newcastle have 3 draws, Betis 2 draws, and as we already mentioned, Tigres at the top only have 1 draw. In the other end of the table, Nice, Anderlecht and Pumas are struggling. Nice are at the same points with Leicester and Galatasaray, and they're in the relegation zone only because they have worse goal difference. I'm very surprised to see Leicester struggle that much. I really expect Leicester to be performing better. I'm not sure if this is because they had unfortunate fixtures or they're just not that good to be better in this division. But we'll see how they progress and if they continue to practically orbit around the relegation zone. What is also worth mentioning is that Gerard Moreno from Espanyol is really leading the goals rankings. He has 4 goals more than anybody else with 7 goals against Ismael Sosa and Jelle Vosen's 3 goals for Tigres and Galatasaray respectively. André Pierre Gignac is the top performer here in this division. This has not changed in the past week. So we see that Tigres really have a lot to offer. And now a quick look at the bottom division, Super League 5. Genoa is leading the race here, so they have reclaimed the first place. They are being followed by Stoke with 14 points, just 1 less than the leaders. Deportivo and Sampdoria in 3rd and 4th position have 13 points and Racing Club have 12. At the bottom we see Pachuca, Atalanta, Club Brugge and Malaga. They are struggling to accumulate points at this rate. And just to remind you, they would not relegate. There is no relegation in the bottom league, so there is nothing for them to worry but the fact that they would be stuck in this division for a long time. Just to have a look at the table, I would really expect more from Celtic. I think Celtic could do much better than this. And another team that is probably going to kick into a higher gear as the season progresses, I think that this would be Malaga. I expect Malaga to really push up and start challenging. In the Super League Cup, there were 5 fixtures to be played on the 27th of September. Inter Milan eliminated AZ Alkmaar after extra time. West Ham eliminated Pachuca away from home. Sassuolo defeated Pumas at home, while Sao Paulo won the Brazilian derby against Palmeiras. Apologies. And we also see that Wolfsburg won 2-0 against Brazilian Atlético Mineiro. In the next week, the Super League Trophy and the Super League Masters, which are the 2 domestic cup competitions for these leagues, are going to kick off. So I'm going to now fast forward to the next week to see what happens in all 5 leagues and the cup competitions. Here we are, 1 week into the future, 8th of October. Let's start with the Super League 1. So in this league, I don't think that much happened in the meantime. Actually, to be honest, I don't think that any games have been played, so I'm not going to spend too much time. We see that on the 1st of October, we had a couple of games, so let me just have a quick look. Yes, indeed, so only 2 games were played. Milan lost at home to Porto and Napoli defeated Arsenal, so Napoli managed to climb up a bit. On the other hand, Milan are also in the mid-table. They lost to Porto. So Porto have jumped above them, but other than that, nothing exceptional happened in Super League 1. In Super League 2, we have not a lot of movement as well, so Cruzeiro and Santos are still leading that division with 17 points, 1 more than Villarreal. Then we see that we have 4 teams with the same points. Valencia, Shakhtar, Monaco and Grêmio all have 13 points, while Grêmio have the worst goal difference. They're actually on negative goal difference. So it's going to be interesting to see how this battle is going to develop. At the bottom of the league, Ajax is still there, and in last position Lazio and Corinthians are also in the relegation zone. In Super League 3, no real big changes. We see Besiktas still at the top, being followed by Fluminense, Schalke, Marseille, Hoffenheim are trying to chase them, and at the bottom Everton, Cruz Azul and Olympiacos. So nothing significant has changed for this week in Super League 3 as well. Moving down to Super League 4, where Tigres are still dominating this league. You see that they're now at the top with 22 points, being followed by Real Betis with 20, Newcastle and Espanyol in third and fourth position with 15 points each, and at the bottom Galatasaray, Anderlecht and Pumas. Again, here we don't really have a lot of movements in terms of the top at the bottom. Only in the middle we have teams that are switching places. Something interesting as well is that Gerard Moreno has not scored any more goals in the last week. On the other hand, André Pierre Gignac and Yuya Osako from Kyon are now catching up with him. So Moreno is only has one goal cushion compared to the second placed scorer there. And moving to the lowest Super League 5, we see that Genoa is now on points with their Italian compatriots from Sampdoria, 16 points each. Racing Club is second with 15. Stoke have slumped down to fourth position, now they have 14 points. I think they lost their last game. Yes, we see that here against FC Copenhagen. They lost at home. And at the bottom we have Atalanta, Pachuca and Bordeaux and Malaga on the same points, but Malaga have one goal, better goal difference. Before I move on to the cup competitions, I just want to remind you that if you want me to focus on one team in specific or a specific competition, maybe a certain statistical attribute, let me know and I can include that in the next episode, or I can do a separate video on that topic. In general, I would love to hear what do you guys think about this experiment in the comments below the video. Moving to the cup competitions, and first in line is of course the Super League Cup, where we had another fixture being played in the meantime. On the 4th of October, the Greek Olympiacos managed to eliminate Mainz away from home. So this is at least some consolation for the Greek team, who are really struggling in Super League 3 and find themselves at rock bottom of the table. As we can see, they're going to progress to the third round of the cup. Hopefully this is going to give them some confidence and they can start performing better in the league as well. Now let's move our focus to the Super League trophy, and just to remind you, this is a cup competition where only the teams from Super League 3, 4 and 5 can compete. In the second round we see that there were some fixtures played on the 4th of October where Wolfsburg eliminated Atlético Nacional away from home. Bordeaux defeat Nice, Borussia Mönchengladbach eliminated Frankfurt, Vasco da Gama beat Genoa on penalties, Real Sociedad defeated Leicester, Southampton managed to win against Racing Club away from home, and Sassuolo eliminated Newcastle. Next round of this competition is going to be played on the 18th of October, so we still have 2 weeks until that day comes. Now going to the Super League Masters, this is the domestic cup that is only available to teams from Super League 1 and 2. And here we have 2 fixtures being played from the second round, where Benfica lost at home to Athletic Bilbao and Lazio also lost at home 0-1 to the Brazilian Grêmio. This competition's next fixtures are going to be played on the 25th of October, so there is a lot of time. There are actually 3 weeks until then. So in the next few weeks we are going to focus predominantly on the league results. Having said that, now I'm going to fast forward another week into the future so we can follow how the 5 leagues are progressing in that period. Here we are, 15th of October 2017, and let's get started with Super League 1. Real Madrid are leading the way here with 20 points, which means that they managed to record a draw in that period. I see that they drew away at Borussia Dortmund. Barcelona are still chasing them. They also couldn't win. They drew at home with Benfica, and now Barcelona is only 1 point above third place Juventus, 2 points above Manchester United and Manchester City that are completing the top 5. At the bottom we see that Roma is there along Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich, which means that Napoli have managed to jump above Bayern Munich. This is very interesting turn of events for me. I really would have expected much better performance from the Parisians as well as the Munich Giants. So let me know what you guys think about that. For me, this is really surprising, and it would be very interesting to see until the end of the season whether PSG and Bayern Munich manage to overcome their deficiency in the beginning of the season and finish stronger. In Super League 2, Cruzeiro is still leading the way. We see that they have 20 points, which is one more than second place Villarreal. Villarreal have managed to jump above Santos, so Santos are now in third place, 2 points behind the leaders. Valencia and Athletic Bilbao make up the top 5. Athletic Bilbao are also level on points with Sporting Lisbon in 6th place, but have better goal difference. At the bottom we find Corinthians, Lazio and Ajax, so nothing has really changed in this division. The only thing that we can notice is that there are some movements in the player sections. So the top performing player now is Mikel San Jose from Atletico Bilbao, or maybe San Jose. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly. And in the goal section we see that Simone Zaza is the top goal scorer of this league. In Super League 3, Beşiktaş is still leading the way with 21 points. Fluminense are in second place, 4 points behind them with only 17. They're being chased by Schalke and PSV Eindhoven just 1 point below them. Leverkusen and Sao Paulo are 1 point behind them as well. At the bottom we find Fenerbahce, Cruz Azul and the Greek Olympiacos, so not a lot of changes here. Everton have managed to climb above Fenerbahce only on goal difference, so this is going to be a tough battle for survival in that league. Super League 4 has no surprises for us. Tigres is still leading the way. They're very dominant, 8 wins, 1 draw with 25 points, and we see that they are being chased by Real Betis with 23 points, only 2 points less. So those are the 2 teams that are yet to taste defeat. All the other teams have already been defeated, and apparently we have 2 very early favorites for promotion. At the bottom of the league we see Galatasaray, Anderlecht and Pumas. No real changes there. Leicester are still not able to climb up the table. And we see that in the goal section Gerard Moreno has managed to score another goal, so he is now leading with 2 more than André Pierre Gignac. At the last level of the Super League, Super League 5, Genoa is still leading, 3 points more than Sampdoria, and another Italian team is in the top now, Sassuolo. So top 3 teams here are from the Italian Serie A. In reality, Racing Club is trying to chase them. They're 1 point behind Sampdoria and Sassuolo, with Stoke and Deportivo as well as the Brazilian Internacional just behind them as well. At the bottom, no real surprises. Pachuca, Atalanta and Bordeaux are still struggling to make any significant progress in this division. There was another set of fixtures that have been played in the Super League Cup in the meantime. On the 12th of October, as you can see on the screen, quite a lot of games took place from the second round. Let me just have a quick look what is worth mentioning here. As you can see probably already, Bayern Munich were pitted with Paris Saint-Germain, and they managed to win 2-1, so those are 2 of the struggling teams in Super League 1. Another very interesting fixture was Real Madrid-Southampton. Real Madrid lost at home on penalties against English Southampton, and this was very surprising since Real Madrid are big favorites. They're part of the top league, Super League 1, while Southampton are in Super League 4. So this is here a very big upset. Other than that, I think most of the other games, the results, the fixtures were not really allowing for a lot of surprises. We see that most of the teams that were playing at home were better placed and higher placed teams against lower league opponents, and they managed to beat them quite comfortably. There were no fixtures to be played in the other 2 cup competitions, so with that I think that's it for this video, guys. If you haven't seen the previous part of this experiment, check out my channel or the description below. There will be links for you, and if you are not understanding the concept here or the structure of these Super Leagues, please make sure to check episode 1 where I explain all of this. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to receive notifications for when I upload new videos. In the meantime, you can also check out my social media listed below in the description. Let me know what you guys think about the Super Leagues, and if you want me to focus on something in particular. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, bye.